Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome to today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. No sponsor for today's show. I guess that's kind of fitting. This could be the last live show of Takeover for a few weeks / months, maybe until school ends. But that's it on the calendar. Don't have any more time off on Thursdays besides this final week of spring break. But I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. I am not in Oklahoma City. I don't have the funds to make more than one trip in a month. But we're going to give this takeover and provide some clips from the Coogs who are in Oklahoma City, getting ready for their game Thursday night against the Idaho Vandals, approximately 9:10 p.m. Central Time. Game will be shown on True TV. And of course, today's Takeover and all the shows of Takeover are shown on Roku via the BS3 Network. If you have Roku, simply download BS3 TV. If not, you can go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com for content like today's Takeover and other outstanding shows that stream every day, 24/7 on BS3 TV. I want to first give a shout out to Prairie View A&M men's basketball head coach Byron Smith, a University of Houston alum. Tossed it out there. Queen Polk, thank you as always for joining the discussion, participating in the discussion. Usually, I start all the Takeover shows with content from my alma mater, the Houston Cougars, University of Houston. Not today. I do have two clips from Emanuel Sharp that I'm going to share from yesterday's media availability, but I want to play some post-game comments from Byron Smith after Prairie View's win over Lehigh in the first four Wednesday for Prairie View's first win in the NCAA Tournament. First PV, that's it. That's it right there, PV. Picked up their first win in NCAA tournament history. 67. They still do that? I don't think so. Not even at school. They don't do that at school where I work. Over Lehigh, but some comments from Byron Smith on the win over Lehigh and what was different from his first chance in the tournament in 2019, what he learned from that experience to kind of help him win Wednesday, and then discussion about PV's next opponent, the Florida Gators. Head coach Byron Smith from Prairie View A&M men's basketball. Post-game comments after PV's win over Lehigh.
The first time we were here in 2019, we got off to a great start. I think we were up by 11 Fairleigh Dickinson at halftime. But we didn't finish. So obviously, you always want to get off to a fast start, but the main thing was to finish, and I think we did that. I think we defended. I think we flew around. I think we caused a lot of problems with our quickness, our athleticism against Lehigh. I mean, well-coached team. They've got good players, and there's no accident that they were here. So I think we just obviously really focused on the defensive side of it. We swarmed them. We swiped at the basketball. We took away their high-low action. Almost everything they wanted to do, we pretty much had an answer for it. So and it paid off tonight, getting the victory.
Some comments from head coach Byron Smith, and I want to play. I hope I still have it, but that's the first comments from Coach Smith after their win over PV. And I, as someone who's known Byron since he played at UH a long time ago. long time ago. But I'm happy for him. This was a trying year for him. This was, there were some PV alums and PV supporters who were kind of asking for his head. Will he survive the last two seasons at Prairie View that were not a success? They won 5 games last year. So for him to bounce back and win the SWAC tournament to earn the auto berth to the NCAA tournament as the 8th seed, the lowest seed to win the SWAC tournament championship, the 8th seed to advance and pick up a win in the first 4 over Lehigh. So kudos to Coach Smith. Now let me see if I can find the other clip. Hope I uploaded it. If not, I'll play it quickly. But Bear with me here.
The first time we were here, 2019, we're definitely going to have to tweak some things. They've got a 6'11" monster down in Gainesville by the name of Ruben Chinyelu, and they've got probably about 4 or 5 guys that are probably going to be playing on TNT or ESPN probably here in about another 8-9 months. So we definitely got to figure out some things. Obviously got one of the top young coaches in the country in Todd Golden. I mean, obviously he's a well-respected guy, does a great job. But, in life, no test, no testimony, right? So we're going to be tested going into game to Tampa, but we look forward to it. That's how quickly. You have to move on quickly. You're already thinking about, this deal right here. That's already on my mind, how we're going to be able to, what can we do against a machine like that. But we will show up and we'll put our best foot forward and, we'll see where we are. But obviously, I'm going to try to enjoy it. With our players tonight, our esteemed AD here, who's kind of escorting me tonight, makes me feel special when your boss kind of walks in with you, Anton Golf. So I'm excited that he's here. So, but we're gonna go in and do the very best we can and just try to keep this thing moving.
And I don't think anybody outside of Prairie View expects PV to beat Florida, but they're gonna play. They're gonna give it their best. And I like what Coach Smith said: no test, no testimony. But good luck to Prairie View. Good luck. I think on the men's side, every team from the state of Texas is still playing. Considering if you had a first 4 game, the Longhorns won over NC State, Prairie View won. So there were the 2 teams from Texas, 2 Texas teams that were in the first 4. And then, of course, you have UH and Texas Tech and other schools representing Texas. TCU's playing right now against Ohio State. So the state of Texas is well represented in the men's Final Four, men's tournament, and also the women's tournament. I think there are 6 or 7 women's teams from Texas in the tournament. None from Houston, though. No Houston team, no Rice Owls women's team, none of that. Rice did not get it done in the American Conference Championship. And they are in the WBIT hosting La Tech Thursday night inside the House of Tudor. Okay, as I hinted at, 2 reels from Emanuel Sharp that I've already posted on Facebook, on the Houston Roundball Review on Facebook, as well as on the Houston Roundball Review on Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube. But I want to share them with you. Then I'll show the slides, the schedules for the tournament, men's and women's tournament. Then some post-game comments from Ime Udoka after the Rockets lost to the Lakers Wednesday night. Lost 2 straight to the Lakers this week. We'll talk some Rockets here on this edition of the Takeover, and that'll do it. And then I'll get ready for the Coogs Idaho game tonight. And then we'll have Let's Rage Coogs post-game after the win over the Vandals. But right now, 2 clips, first of 2 clips from Emanuel Sharp, and they're in the vertical format, the reel/format, TikTok, Instagram, that new format. Emanuel Sharp, first comments I'm probably going to play are E-Man talking about Idaho, facing Idaho, not looking to next week and the possibilities of the Cougars playing games in H-Town at Toyota Center. Media, young and old, not me, I'm old head, but young and old, they always look past the opponent and look ahead and try to make the storylines. Have you guys thought about facing the possibility of playing in Houston next week? E-Man's first comments, I love the answer. Here we go.
We got Idaho. Houston is not promised, so, we're focused on, what's directly in front of us. We have a good Idaho team that we have to play, and we're going to use that game to win, get better, move on to whoever we play after that, and then, whatever is in store for, whether we get to Houston or not is, it's up to us. We have to win. We got to take care of business, and we put that aside. We're focused on winning. Yeah, I don't think it's anything huge. I just think we all got to, all 5 of us, we got to get going on the same night. You guys can't tell me a game where all 5 of the starters, played well at the same time. So. And not just on offense, just everywhere. On defense, us being connected on defense, playing the right way on offense, just putting a complete game together. So I think that's where it's at. Biting down, knowing how urgent this moment is. With this tournament and the run that we are going to make. I'm excited. This group is a really good group, and we have a lot more to do.
Comments from Emanuel Sharp, Houston Red Shirt Senior. 2 different video comments, real format. First one focusing on Idaho. That's Houston's first opponent. Not looking to Saturday, winner of Aggies, St. Mary, none of that. Focus on Idaho. Yes, the Cougars should win. Yes, the Cougars are a favorite. We understand that. 2-15 matchup. Idaho attempts a lot of threes, 28 three-pointers a game. They make roughly 37% from 3. Coogs' job is to not give them confidence, not let Idaho hang around, crush their dreams early, get it done, on to the next. That's it. And this is the mentality that the players have. You can tell they're coached by Kelvin Sampson. Coach Sampson tells media, and he made a point during, I think the Tuesday media session earlier this week, where they met Monday session, where, it's now tournament time. You have national media, local media who did not cover Houston throughout the season, hopping on because it's tournament time, asking questions, and trying to get Coach Sampson to look beyond Idaho and look ahead and all. And Coach Sampson, matter of fact, he was tired of it, but he was stern in his response. It's like, for those who have not covered or do not cover this team all season, I don't look ahead. I look to what's in front of me. I don't look past the next opponent. We don't look past the next opponent. We're focusing on the next opponent, and that's Idaho. So don't waste your time asking me about next week, Saturday, any of that. We are focused on Idaho. Period. So fans, you can do that. That's not Coach Sampson. That's not his job. But the players, the staff, none of that. Idaho Vandals, Houston Cougars, 9-10 p.m. Central, True TV. So getting into it, now I'll showcase the schedule here as you're watching today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Yes, this is live. That's why you see the comments on the screen on the right side there, commenting live in the chat box. Live conversation of the Takeover. This will probably be the last live edition of the Takeover for a few weeks until school is out. I'm on spring break. We're on spring break currently. Last Thursday, when I was in Kansas City with Andy Yanez and a lot of colleagues, I took days off for the Big 12 tournament because I wanted to experience it for the first time. Now we're on spring break. Work resumes on Monday. Again, this is the Takeover, the Roundball Review, Paul Samajama, Let's Rage Coogs. We don't have this. This is not a full-time job for us. This is a passion for us. This is what we do on our side, in our side time, in our spare time. Is the Takeover, is Let's Rage Coogs, is Paul Samajama, is Folks Talking Sports. This is a side gig for us. One day, hopefully, someone blesses us with huge manna from heaven and says, guys, I'm going to underwrite you guys for the year. Plan accordingly for your trips. Not the case. We have to work around our full-time jobs. So, saying all that, enjoy this today. Enjoy the Takeover. Enjoy the first full day of March Madness on the men's side. I know the first 4 started on Tuesday on the men's side. March Madness, first 4 women and men on Wednesday. But now, today, the first full slate of games, field of 64 is set. Here you go with the schedule. We all know CBS right now taking place. 9 seed TCU. Go Big 12. Now that the regular season is over, the conference tournament is over, and it's now time for the tournament in March Madness. I encourage Coug fans of Big 12 teams, root for your other Big 12 teams. And before I go back to the slide, let me put myself on the big screen. My bald head one more time. Root for other Big 12 teams. Watch games involving other Big 12 teams. There is a financial benefit to as many Big 12 teams advancing men's and women's tournaments because of the units now involved the ladies' side as well for the conference. Financial benefit. The further as many Big 12 teams advance, that's more money for the specific school, but also for the conference. So keep that in mind. You can still root for your favorite team, your favorite Big 12 team, but also root for the other Big 12 teams to advance as far as possible. And Rex says this very well. Go Big 12 until they play Houston. I'm all for Arizona, Houston meeting in the Final Four, and of course, I'm a Houston alum. I'm going to root for Houston. I want the ultimate to happen one year, if not this year. I want the Final Four with 4 Big 12 teams. Oh, wow, that's the symbol of excellence, the 4 horsemen right there. If you know, you know, the 4 horsemen. All 4 Final Fours are Big 12 teams. That's the ultimate, But root for Big 12 teams. I posted a video, like 10 seconds, of Arizona's Jaden Bradley being named, receiving the most outstanding player award Saturday for the Big 12 championship. That view has almost 1,000 eyeballs from Arizona fans. That's posted on YouTube, the Houston Roundball Review on Facebook, Threads. I think maybe not 2,000 or 3,000 now, adding them all together. So salute to the Arizona fans who have come and watched that clip. Jaden Bradley reminds many of us who follow the Coogs of Jamal Shead, of his bulldog mentality, of his winning mindset. So I have no problem giving credit to other players. I'm objective. I give credit to other people who do well. Not just Coogs, not just Coogs coaches, not just Coogs staff members, but I'm also going to be critical when I think it's warranted. But back to the schedule as you're watching today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming on YouTube via the Houston Roundball Review channel, but also on Roku. Yes, on Roku, courtesy of BS3 Network. Halftime of the TCU-Ohio State game. The Horned Frogs made a run before I started the show. Halftime, they're up 15, 39-24 over Ohio State. When I started the show, I think they were up 7. So now they stretched it to 15. Good. Next on there, you see Oklahoma in Oklahoma City. That tip time is wrong there because Troy and Nebraska are starting right now. They're already underway with Nebraska leading Troy 32-19. Put on the schedule. It should be 11:40 a.m. for Troy, Nebraska. South Florida, Louisville. Rex, are you one of the many people who are picking South Florida to upset Louisville? Let me know in the comments. High Point, 12 seed against Wisconsin, 5 seed. Siena, 16 seed against top seed overall Duke. CBS Network, Duke is a national brand. That game is slated to start around 1:50. Oklahoma City, next after the Troy-Nebraska game. McNeese versus Vanderbilt, 12 versus 5. Which 12 seed is going to be the 5 seed this year? I mean, what's it like 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row when a 12 beating a 5 in the men's tournament? Rex says yes, he is picking South Florida to beat Louisville. Anybody else here watching the show on YouTube or Facebook or Roku is picking South Florida Bulls to beat Louisville? And Rex, tell me why. Why do you think so? Then this is session 1 Thursday afternoon. North Dakota State, 14 seed versus Michigan State, the 3 seed in Buffalo. Portland, 13 seed versus 4 seed Arkansas. How many have picked Arkansas to go far because of a phenomenal freshman in Mr. Darius Acuff? Later today, this evening, later in Greenville on TNT, 11 seed VCU versus 6 seed North Carolina. 16 seed Howard versus Michigan. Howard, shout out to Howard, Prairie View, and Tennessee State. 3 HBCUs in the men's tournament. Howard got a win in the first 4, just like Prairie View. So that's 2 wins for HBCUs already in this year's tournament. But 3 HBCUs overall in the men's tournament. So shout out again to Prairie View, Howard, and Tennessee State. 11 seed Texas faces 6 seed BYU. AJ DeBonsa, Robert Wright III, please, 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 beat Texas. Beat Texas. Yeah, it's nice from schools from the state of Texas. Yeah, that's done now. Longhorns got their one win, but now BYU, please beat the Longhorns. Please, please, please beat the Longhorns. I'm repping and pulling for the Big 12. I don't pull for Texas anything else. So go BYU Cougars. Oklahoma City, Aggies versus St. Mary's. That game precedes the Houston-Idaho game. That game will be on True TV. Penn, 14 seed versus 3 seed Illinois in Greenville. In Buffalo, on CBS, the 9 seed St. Louis versus 8 seed Georgia. TBS in Portland, 14 seed Kennesaw State versus 3 seed Gonzaga. Not Gonzaga, Gonzaga. And then, of course, wrapping up tonight, 2 seed Houston versus 15 seed Idaho. That game is in Oklahoma City. Toward tomorrow, Friday action in the afternoon. Tipping off St. Louis on CBS, 10 seed Santa Clara. Anybody picking Santa Clara to beat Kentucky in that game? Santa Clara is the 10 seed. Big Blue Nation is the 7 seed. Tampa, Akron, 12 seed versus Texas Tech. Go Texas Tech, another Big 12 school. In San Diego on TNT, 16 seed LIU versus 1 seed Arizona. Go Wildcats, 1 seed, the 2nd overall seed after Duke, courtesy of winning the Big 12 regular season and the Big 12 conference tournament. In Philly on TBS, 14 seed Wright State versus 3 seed Virginia. CBS in St. Louis, 15 seed Tennessee State head coach Nolan Smith, Duke alum. Iowa State, go Iowa State. Tampa, 13 seed Hofstra versus Alabama, the 4 seed. San Diego, game on TNT, 9 seed Utah State versus Villanova, 8 seed. Only 3 Big East teams made it to the tournament this year on the men's side: UConn, St. John's, and Villanova. The last of the afternoon games, TBS in Philly, 11 seed Miami of Ohio. They quieted some folks with the win over SMU. Good thing I didn't pull out a bracket because I would have got that one wrong because I picked SMU in my head. They're facing 6 seed Tennessee. Friday evening in Tampa, Iowa versus Clemson on TNT. Northern Iowa, 12 seed versus St. John's. St. John's, it's a tough bracket. St. John's has a good team, though. Game in San Diego. In Philly on TBS, UCF. Once again, go UCF, 10 seed versus 7 seed UCLA. True TV, St. Louis, 15 Queens versus 2 seed Purdue. On TNT, Tampa, there it is. Tip time maybe changed already, but it's Prairie versus Florida. Everyone expects Florida to win that game. San Diego, CBS, 13 seed Cal Baptist against Kansas. How many of you all watching today's Takeover are picking Kansas to get to the second weekend? Kansas and Darryn Peterson, tremendous talent. It sure is interesting. If you haven't already read it, heard about it, let me close it out real quick. Last 2 games, Furman, 15 seed versus 2 seed UConn on TBS in Philly. And then St. Louis, True TV, 10 seed Missouri versus 7 seed Miami of Florida. Head coach Jay Lucas in his first year as head coach of the Hurricanes. I'm going to get to the women's schedule in a moment, come back to it. But I want to talk about this before we go to the first break, bottom of the hour. Have you seen, read, heard about the article in The Athletic and maybe other outlets now regarding Darryn Peterson, quotes from Darryn Peterson, quotes from his personal trainer, quotes from Coach Bill Self? How Darryn is not a quitter. How Darryn is one of the hardest working players that has ever been trained by this personal trainer. The timing of that is very interesting. That happened last week, I think maybe in Kansas City, last few days, where it was like Darryn and his representatives and or his parents realized, yeah, maybe it's time for us to get out with a better dialogue and conversation regarding Darryn Peterson and start putting some more context behind his health issues throughout this year, starting really last summer. If they would have said, if some of this info that came out these last few days would have been made available to everyone in October, November, we wouldn't have had all these questions about, is Darryn faking it? Is he really hurt? Is he really? Get ahead of this story. I blame his people, that include his parents, his reps. Y'all took until March to explain and provide more context and details regarding his health issues, what he was dealing with, and the IV fluids he had to go through in August, September, October, months ago. If you would have done that months ago, this would not have been a question about, do I really want him to be the top pick overall? Is he really focused on basketball? Is he really a teammate? Is he really a good team player? That's y'all's fault for taking this long for telling this story. Y'all let this young man experience all kinds of verbal slings and arrows because you failed to get ahead of this story. That's your fault. He's a hell of a talent. He's talented enough to carry Kansas kind of far in this tournament. We'll see how far they go, though. Mr. Big Texaco. Tremont Mark, yes, he did help the Longhorns win their first 4 game. And hopefully that'll be it for the Longhorns as they lose to BYU in the round of 64. Mr. Big Texaco, are you picking BYU or the Longhorns to win that game? Let me know. As you and everyone else is watching today's edition of The Takeover on YouTube, Facebook, and as well as on Roku, courtesy of the BS3 Network. After the break, we'll discuss the Rockets, have some post-game comments from Ime Udoka, as well as go over the schedule for the NCAA Women's Tournament. But you are watching today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Throwback Thursday. The Takeover is powered by JMNE, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, as well as on Roku via the BS3 Network. We'll be back in 90 seconds as you see and learn a little bit more about what BS3 TV is all about.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JMNE. The Takeover is, of course, available streaming to you live. Yes, this is today's live episode on YouTube at the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook, and also on Roku, courtesy of the BS3 Network. BS3 TV, changing the way you watch TV. Getting back into the schedules, this time the NCAA Women's Tournament schedule, and then I'll play comments from Rockets head coach Ime Udoka after last night's loss to the Lakers, and we'll discuss the Rockets in the final moments of today's show, and that will wrap it up as we'll get ready for watching the rest of the games of March Madness, but also get you ready for tonight's Houston Cougars Idaho Vandals game, tipping off at 9:10 p.m. Central, and then join us, me, Andy, Fluff, and Dayon, for the next edition of the Let's Rage Coogs post-game show after Houston beats the Vandals. But real quickly, women's schedule, and yes, there are no team from Houston, no Houston Cougars, no Prairie View, no Rice Owls, no Houston Christian, no Texas Southern, none of the women's teams made it to the tournament. But the teams that did make it to the women's tournament tip off Friday, session 1. There are, I think, a couple of first 4 games today. But 10:30 a.m., ESPN2, 14 seed College of Charleston at number 3 Duke. ESPN, 14 seed San Diego at 3 TCU. And this is the threes, the numbers in the parentheses are the regional seeding. So Fort Worth, 2 Fort Worth regionals, because the women's tournament is a little bit different. They have just 2 regional sites, just 2. Fort Worth is one site, and then, what was it, Sacramento, some West Coast team, West Coast city is the site of the teams, is the other 2 regions. So yes, the round of 16 will have 8 teams in Fort Worth and 8 teams out west. So they're doing a little bit differently than the men. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I really don't like it personally, but anyway. But San Diego at TCU, that game is in Fort Worth on TCU's campus. Virginia Tech, 9 seed versus 8 Oregon. Nebraska versus Baylor. So you got TCU and Baylor, Big 12 teams. Good luck to them. Good luck to both Big 12 teams. South Dakota versus Washington, ESPN News. Murray State is a 12 versus 5 Maryland. Gonzaga is a 12 versus 5 Ole Miss. Missouri State at Texas. That game is in Austin on the Longhorns campus. I noticed there are a handful of teams that placed or earned spots, men and women, in both tournaments. Boy, one day, Rex, Mr. Big Texco, Queen Wanda Polk, one day, hopefully soon, the Houston Cougars women's team will join the men's team in the tournament, in postseason play, in the dance, big dances. Not the WBIT, not the WBI, not nothing in the NCAA tournament. Heck, I think Idaho women are in the tournament. So men and women for them. Must be nice. Anyway, that's session 1, Friday, women's side. Session 2, starting at 4:30 Central, ESPN2, Holy Cross at Michigan. ESPN News, Western Illinois at North Carolina. ESPN, Jacksonville at LSU. Green Bay at Minnesota on ESPNU. Colorado State versus Michigan State. Tennessee, and this is a side note, Tennessee was a 10 seed. Tennessee, Lady Vols, what used to be, but still is, the past Lady Vol teams and players. Once a Lady Vol, always Lady Vol. A 10 seed, you would just be like, ooh, that's ooh. This year's team, Lady Vols, losers of 7 in a row, they celebrated. They were dancing around like they did something. They're going to lose NC State. I'm calling right now. They're going to lose NC State. Villanova, 10 seed versus 7 seed Texas Tech. Go Texas Tech. That game's on ESPNU. Idaho, 13 seed at Oklahoma in Norman. Friday night, 9 o'clock. Game can be seen on ESPN. Saturday, slate for the women. Saturday, session 1. Howard, women and men both made the tournament. ESPN2. Howard at Ohio State. Vermont at Louisville, women and men both made the tournament. Must be nice. ABC, 16 seed versus Southern or Samford at South Carolina. Good luck to both of them because either one of them, they're going to lose big time to the Gamecocks. ESPN2, 10-seed Virginia or 10-seed Arizona State will be against Georgia. Arizona State head coach Molly Miller is battling an illness, so she is not with the team. Is not with the Sun Devils. Hopefully she has a healthy recovery. ESPN 1 o'clock, Fairfield against Notre Dame. ESPNU 1:30, James Madison against Kentucky. ESPN News, Rhode Island versus Alabama. ABC 2 o'clock, 16-seed UTSA, another school from the state of Texas. UTSA from the American, Mr. Big Texaco, Rex, Queen Polk. UTSA won the American Conference Championship, but they're 16 seed. That shows you how far women's basketball has fallen in the American Conference. When your conference champion is a 16 seed and your reward facing the number 1 overall seed, UConn Huskies. Women's basketball in the American has a lot of work to do to get semi-better like it was just a few years ago. Finally, Saturday session 2, USC 9-seed versus Clemson, game on ESPN2. Fairleigh Dickinson, ESPN game against Iowa. Miami, Ohio, another school that sent both their teams to the tournament. At West Virginia, run's going to end right there, though, against West Virginia. Syracuse, Iowa State on ESPN2 with Cyclones. High Point, Vanderbilt. I think High Point's in here twice. That game's on ESPN News, 6 o'clock. 6:30 p.m. ESPN2. Princeton versus Oklahoma State, ESPN2. Colorado, go Cowgirls from Oklahoma State. Colorado, go Colorado against 7 Illinois. And then closing it out, ESPN 16-seed Cal Baptist at 1-seed UCLA. UCLA is the 2nd overall seed in the women's tournament. Now, before I go to head coach Ime Udoka, what are your thoughts on what's wrong with the Rockets? Is anything wrong with the Rockets? Is it just the competition? Is it Ime Udoka? Is it lack of offensive coordinator? Is it poor play calling? Is it they seem to have no clue how to handle double teams against Kevin Durant? What is it? Let me know your thoughts. But here are some postgame comments from head coach Ime Udoka after the Rockets' Wednesday loss to the Lakers. Was the final score 124-116.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we went to some more off-ball actions and found some openings there, some great looks. Guys made, aggressive cuts. Like I said, Kevin was more decisive, getting away from the double teams and just making quick moves and not waiting on it as much. And then we caused a lot of turnovers in that third quarter to flip it from, down 10 or so to up 3. And so flipped that pretty quickly. Our defense was aggressive. And then, like I said, the fourth quarter wasn't as strong. 13-4 run coming out. A lot of mishaps in the pick and roll coverage, and that was the difference between the third and the fourth. Yeah, I mean, you're missing some guys, but others have to step up, and we got guys that started part time and all that, and so teams are going to make others prove it. Quite honestly, they're going to go after Alperen and Kevin, and guys have to be aggressive, make the right reads, make the right plays. Take the shot when it's there, drive it. If you don't have anything, find somebody else. And I think too many times we kind of got bogged down into taking some tough shots out of those traps.
Mr. Big Texaco, what do you think after hearing those comments from Ime Udoka? I see your statement before I play the clip. Ime needs to be on the hot seat! Exclamation marks. GM Rafael Stone needs some blame, too, for not getting a point guard during the trading. That's a big one right there. That is a big one. Rafael Stone failed to get a point guard. Too much faith in Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard is not a point guard. He's an improving guard, but he's not a point guard. He is much better, much more comfortable scoring and shooting the ball than he is as a facilitator. It seems like everyone outside of the Rockets organization understands that, sees that. Anyone else agree with Mr. Big Texaco. Should Ime be on the hot seat? I won't go that far because personally, once Fred got hurt and they didn't do anything to replace Fred, I did not expect much from this team, especially in the postseason, even with the addition of a Hall of Famer. Too much on Kevin Durant's plate. Alperen Sengun has been inconsistent lately for sure, dealing with some nagging injuries. The Rockets miss Steven Adams up front, his presence, his physicality, most definitely. But what is it? Let's see. Okay. Thank you for this a long time hearing from you. 50 years, I'm a Rockets fan, almost 50 years, decided not to watch them anymore okay, you've given up on this organization. Wow. You're a fan. You were a Rockets fan, apparently. This season is, I think, a wash. I think the season's over. Their championship goal is not happening this year. They got to get a point guard. Period. Fred's return. Let's put it like, how about this, Mr. Big Texaco? Let's say Fred VanVleet returns in the next few weeks, in time for let's say April. But in time to get himself up to speed par for the playoffs. Will that make a difference? Will that make a benefit? Will that help the Rockets go far in this year's playoffs? Mr. Big Texaco says the Rockets are missing a Dillon Brooks type player. And that is secondary right here. Rockets miss Brooks. I think, Dorian Finney-Smith is not as, how can I say this? He's not as technical foul prone as Dillon Brooks, but Dorian Finney-Smith was known for his good defense, his physicality on defense. He's not quite Dillon Brooks getting in the heads of opponents and talking trash, things like that. But the Rockets I think they did believe they got a replacement for Dillon Brooks in Dorian Finney-Smith. And he has not lived up to that, clearly. Nowhere close. He hasn't. The offseason surgery on his ankle set him back. He's kind of shooting the ball better from three lately, but he just has not had the impact, the positive impact that folks in the organization hoped for this year. C. Anthony says the Rockets should have gotten Jamal Shead. He probably would not have cost much for a trade. I'll say that. You really? He calls Dorian Finney-Smith trash. Wow. Wow. Okay, but I not as firm in feeling as your statement, but similarly, he has been a disappointment to the organization. I think I won't call the man trash, but he has been a big disappointment this year for the Rockets. Up front office, coaching staff, I'll go that far, yes. So, C. Anthony, Mr. Big, is this season over? Do you believe this team has a chance to catch lightning in a bottle come postseason and get it done? And I think you all are straightforward, straight shooters, and won't hold your typing tongue. So let me know what you think as we close it out, these final moments of today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. So yes, first part of today's show was Prairie View men's basketball. Kudos to them. Some college comments from head coach Byron Smith, Emanuel Sharp, regarding March Madness. Second part of today's show, second segment, is Rocket Talk, pretty much, as we close it down. C. Anthony says, just ain't got it this year. Yeah, this team not going to get it. So, C. Anthony, because of that, because of what you typed, do you agree with Mr. Big Texco that Ime should be on the hot seat? So this person, his fan, was a really big supporter of Dylan Brooks. My take, and I think you guys agree, and those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube and Roku, the biggest takeaway from the trade of acquiring future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant and trading Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks was it shortened and it shrunk the Rockets' window for winning a championship from 5 years to 2 years. Maybe if you want to be nice, 3 years. Well, this year's gone. This year's done. So now we're down to 1 or 2. So they, front office, Les, Ime, Rafael, they went for it, and right now they're running out of time. So they're running out of time. It's not over yet. The next 2 years, they can still get a point guard and upgrade, and Fred can come back. But this season, I think this season's done regarding a championship, and then you go from there. Mr. Big Texco, I would like that, but I don't believe so unless Fred can come back and lead and shoot lights out. It's a lot to ask for. A man been out a year. Even if he comes back, he won't be the same. It's going to take him a while to be the Fred of old, and not just old Fred. C. Anthony says, not ready yet to move from Ime. Let him get everything first, as in another point guard. Let me say this. Tari Eason has crashed, not just regressed, crashed back to the mean. He was one of the top, percentage-wise, three-point shooters in the NBA the early part of the season. Stunning to me. Surprising to me and probably many other folks. He's missed 21 straight threes now? Something like that? At last check. He's beginning to be who he is, who he thought he was. Cade with the collapsed lung. When I heard about it, I just wanted to be healthy. Initially, 1 or 2 weeks. Now it's 2 weeks. Just to be healthy. I did not have, this team's already surpassed my expectations for this year. I don't have them winning the championship this year anyway. So they get win 50 tonight, most likely without Cade. Cade come back by the end of March. And then they can win, if Cade is healthy, win a first round series. And then in the offseason, make the final tweak and be ready to get that chip next year or the year after. This year, this year's gravy to me. I'm just enjoying this. This year's gravy. As a Piston fan, I'm just enjoying this. I'm not worried about anything come postseason. If they win the first round, I expect them to win the first round series this year. Beyond that, learn about the playoffs, what it takes to advance far in the playoffs, make your addition in the offseason, and then be ready next year. Because they're dealing with other injuries. Isaiah Stewart's out right now, too. They've dealt with injuries a lot this season. Not long-term, but 3-4 games from Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Karis LeVert, Ron Holland. Marcus Sasser missed a month, started the season with surgery on his hip. Cade missed a few games before the collapsed lung Tuesday. So different guys have been in and out of the lineup all year. Tobias Harris had some knee issues and back issues and different injuries. So to have 49 wins, to be 49-19, I'm enjoying this. Tony, how are you doing? I think that's a little harsh. Never is a mighty long time. The window has shrunk for this team. I think many of us agree with that. They'll be contenders. They're not serious contenders right now anymore. Last month has really shown that. Because, there was talk up to the All-Star break. The Rockets are one of the top teams in the West for sure and have a chance to compete for the NBA title this year. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. But the last few weeks have shown that. This year's this team isn't it. No. That game, and I was off of the Rockets played the night before too. That game was another example of the Piston players taking opponents in situations for granted. It's one of the handful of games they pissed away this year because teams played the night before, because they thought they were better than them, the other team. They half-fasted and then got beat. This team, I guess that's another indicator of I don't have title contender thoughts for this year's Pistons team. They're still learning. They still have too many up and down moments. They're not good enough to just show up and beat people. They have to play their game. And when they half-ass it, they lose. Learn from it. And they have not learned from it enough yet to. They're not good enough from 3-point range for sure, but they definitely are not good enough to just go through the motions to beat teams, especially come playoff time. That's just my opinion, but I think that's a fact. I'm not sure CP's has enough left in the tank to help the Rockets. I don't think so. If he thought so, he wouldn't have retired. Mike Will, good to hear from you, brother, but yeah, not him. No. Much love and respect for Chris Paul, but no. But I think Rafael should have done something at the deadline to improve the point guard spot, and he failed to get it done for whatever reason. I don't care if they're up against salary cap, up against the apron. They could have done something. They should have done something, and they didn't. And it's biting them in the butt. Clearly. Biting them in the butt big time. Rockets, what they have, the Red Hot Hawks, who is it? Warriors, Hawks, Warriors, whatever, coming up, something like that, whatever. Rockets might lose the rest of this whole week, have a losing week. Rockets could end up 6th by the end of the week. Phoenix is 3 games out of the 6th spot? Phoenix is in 7th, but the Rockets could end up 6th. Man, the Rockets, real talk, everybody. Michael, thank you for this, brother. Appreciate it. Let me look at the standings real quick. Let me, as I wrap it up. 2 things I want to share with everybody. Let's see. Oh, hell, it's a 2-point game. Come on, TCU. You got to beat Ohio State. Come on. 49-47 with 8.5 minutes to go in the second half. Come on, Horned Frogs. Come on. You were up by, 14 at halftime? Come on now. But standings, the Rockets they better get it together. Because, let's see, with Cade out for at least 2 weeks, Boston might surpass Detroit, maybe. And I'll definitely pick Boston to beat Detroit in the playoffs, for sure, even before Cade's issue. Let's see, the Rockets are percentage points tied with Denver. Rockets 41-27, Nuggets 42-28. 2.5 ahead of Phoenix. Rockets will probably be behind Denver by the end of the week. So, yeah, Rockets might be bordering around finishing 7th. Damn. Now, what would that say if the Rockets finish 7th? What would I say about Ime then? What would I say then? If they got to play to be in the play-in to make the playoffs. Just win one game, of course, to make the playoffs if you're the 7th seed, but still. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. What do y'all say? What would y'all say if that happens? If the Rockets are in the play-in? I mean, they're not far from it right now. But anyhow, everyone, thank you. Mr. Big Texco, you are a member, a Houston Roundball Review YouTube member. Appreciate that. Let me see. I'll post this here. Is this the right one? Yes. And scan the code. Let me go ahead and hide that there and to close it out. But Mr. Big Texco, I spoke with one of the young men who I mentioned in an earlier, I think last week, video regarding the Coogs and possible transfer portal people, transfer portal targets. I'm going to post an update, hopefully within the next hour, with just some of what he and I discussed. But everyone, thank you very much for your time. If you want to become a YouTube member, 2 choices, $3 all league tier, $5 all world tier. You get content there before anybody else. Most of it is only for members only. Sometimes I decide to switch it from members only to public. That's very, very rare. So if you want that inside info, become a Houston Roundball Review YouTube member. Scan the QR code, click on that join button, either way, and become a member. That'll do it. Enjoy March Madness, men's and women's hoops. Good luck to the Coogs. Tonight, join us late for a late night edition, an after dark edition of Let's Rage Coogs with me, Andy, Deion, and Fluff, as we discuss Houston's win over the Idaho Vandals here on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. That'll do it. Thank you. Peace to everyone. Rex, Mr. Big, Mike Will. What is this? LLIR? Lidshar? YouTube tossed up the numbers and stuff, so it threw me off. But thank you, because I remember you from the Let's Talk Houston Rocket shows. So thank you for your comments and your typing from your chest regarding how you feel about the Rockets and Dylan Brooks shouldn't have been traded and all those great things. But join us. May have a few Rocket shows once the Coug season ends. Hopefully that won't be for a while. but to everyone, if you are not yet a subscriber to the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, please do so. Become a subscriber. I'll provide some more content. I'm going to try to squeeze in a few comments from other Big 12 teams, post-game press conferences here and there throughout March Madness. But as always, thank you to everyone. Thank you to AJ Jones for providing me this platform here on the Takeover. Thank you to Ben and the family at BS3 TV. And that will do it for this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, the last live show of the Takeover on Thursdays for probably until school's out, because I'll be back at school on Monday and then resume recording these shows Wednesday night for you to watch on Thursdays. So salute to everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And you know how it goes. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.